It was the best of citizens' arrests. It was the worst of citizens' arrests. But why the difference? Hey everyone, Mike the Cop here, and okay, when it comes to citizens' arrests, I will say this as both a common sense citizen among you and as someone who is a law enforcement officer. Even when the situation presents itself that you could make a citizen's arrest, in most situations, my recommendation is that you don't. And that is not because I feel like the cops should get to handle everything. But far from it. I actually don't think that's the case. And I think there are many ways a community can help engage and prevent crime that go beyond the typical role of law enforcement. But not the topic of this video. Point is, you could get yourself in great danger, practically speaking, and you could get yourself in great danger legally speaking. On that practical side of things, you have to think through if you are equipped enough to handle where that situation could go. Are you prepared to enter into a situation that could put your life, the life of the person you're attempting to arrest, or others around you at risk? How serious is what is going on to that risk that you're willing to practically take when you step into that situation? I would say that in most cases, it's just not important enough, and there are other practical solutions that can ultimately be as effective. On the legal side of things, the state laws vary. I mean, there's some common principles. Typically for a citizen's arrest, you're going to have been the victim, or you're going to have immediate direct knowledge that a reasonable person would have, a knowledge of a crime in order to engage in the citizen's arrest. So there are some commonalities, but the state laws vary. For example, here in Michigan, you can only do a citizen's arrest for a felony. And so what happens if you make a citizen's arrest? It doesn't, even practically it goes well. Legally over here, you might have just really stuck yourself in some legal quicksand that's not going to be easy to get out of, because you may have just kidnapped someone if you pick the wrong level of crime to try to exert your citizen authority on. Do I think there is room, and should we have these caveats of citizen's arrest in our system? I do think we should, but I think this most recent situation with Ahmaud Arbery does bring up some of the value of that as far as having a discussion about where we should go from here with citizens' arrests. Today's video, though, is about juxtaposing two citizens' arrests next to each other that have very, very similar elements, and why on mainstream and social media there seems to be a very different response. What's going on there? In specifically this case of Ahmaud Arbery, I'm not going to take a deep dive into the actual case itself. I'm going to summarize it in a second, but if you want to take that deep dive, Officer Tatum's video, it's very, very detailed from a legal standpoint, gives you many, many details of the case that I'm not going to go into in this video, primarily because he's already done the work for us. So go support him by following that video, even if you don't agree. There's a lot of information there that can be beneficial for you as you weigh out everything for your own self. But a quick fact recap. Father and son, Gregory and Travis McMichael in Glynn County, Georgia, they arm themselves and go out after a man that ran by their house, who is later identified as Ahmaud Arbery. And the reason that they did that is that he matched the description, and we now know that not only did he match the description, he was the man described in the video of recent breaking and entering or trespassing into a property. And Travis had a theft from his vehicle that was a gun, which that's all factual information. They hop in their car, they go after him while he's running down the street, and Travis gets out, confronts him, tells him to stop. An altercation ensues, and ultimately Ahmaud Arbery is shot and dies at the scene. The video of this, which I'm not going to show, comes out, and everyone instantly makes a decision about what happened, despite very, very controversial takes on the video, despite not knowing the background, despite not knowing the law. Everyone just piles on, hashtags are created, And there is instantaneously this notion of implicit racism. In fact, when I first heard about this, it came from my favorite guy, Sean King, and many around that were calling this a modern day lynching. Literally the idea of some white guys saw a black guy jogging by and said, you know what, let's go shoot somebody. All right, let's put a pin in this situation here in 2020. Let's back it up to 2015 when a Hashim Fannin, also in Georgia, north of Atlanta, pulls his vehicle into a dollar store parking lot. And as he pulls in and gets into a spot, a person gets into his vehicle, and that person, Edgar Horn, a 61-year-old man, ends up being on the receiving end of a citizen's arrest for his attempt at robbing, carjacking, accosting a human being in their own vehicle. And as you can see by the video playing under my words, there is a citizen's arrest that takes place. What are some of the similarities we see in these two cases? One is that we know that some form of probable cause that a crime had been committed that was in the direct knowledge or experience of the people conducting the arrest. That happened. Two, the races of the people both arresting and being arrested, attempt in the citizen sense, are of different races. The main difference being in these cases is that the person getting arrested did not resist the arrest, right? So they didn't try to accost the person doing the arrest, and they didn't try to grab the weapon. Now, again, step away from the emotions for a second, step away from that for a second, and compare and juxtapose the two things as it relates to how people respond to these things with very, very similar circumstances. Could you tell me why there is no hashtag Angela Sommers or anything similar to that when she was killed as a postal worker because a man wanted to scare her because he hadn't gotten his stimulus check yet, and they were of different races? Everyone seems to know Ahmaud Arbery, but do you know Tyshawn Lee, a 9-year-old that was executed in broad daylight by a person of the same race? One of the dangers in these things is oversimplifying it by tribalism, because it's easy to change a profile pic. It's easy to throw out a hashtag and feel like you're doing something, that this is a reasonable response to the tragedy of violence in general in our culture. Take the race out for a second and just think about the tragedy of violence in general in our culture. And can't we be upset with that in and of itself, whatever the cause is, okay, whatever the role is that builds up these circumstances where this happens? Can't we just be together upset that this is the kind of world that we are in, and that's what we are battling against? To me, this is so blatantly obvious that the issue of race is being forced into this, and the reason is that as long as they can keep us divided on that issue, they can continue to profit off of that division through clickbait, through pushing the agendas, the hashtagging. All of that stuff happens to keep us divided because we will keep clicking, we will keep seeing ads, we stay divided, and the media, social media, big media, continues to grow and thrive off of that division. And what happens is the real difficult things. We cherry pick these cases to capitalize on, and I say we as like the media, they cherry pick these cases to capitalize on, insert a tribalistic issue onto the matter, keep us divided. Meanwhile, where is the outrage or the actual work that is necessary to overcome a lot of the violence that is happening in Detroit, Chicago, New York City, LA, Atlanta, etc., right? There are real issues. And the reason I think that is because it's easier to throw a hashtag on something and feel like you've done your part versus actually engaging in your community in ways that make a legitimate, real-world difference. Undue violence should be repulsive to everyone, and we should be united on that and not divided on it. But the weapon in that war is going to be truth, to use a an ironic analogy, right? We are in a battle, but it's the battle for the truth, and we have to take a step away from the division, from the sides that they're wanting to push us into, and think clearly for ourselves on these matters. My contention at the end of the day about these two cases is that Ahmaud Arbery was no more out just being an innocent jogger than Edgar Horn was just finding his friend in a car. In other words, there was more to the story. I think we'll see that played out. But juxtapose these things for a second, take a step back and look and go, what's really being fed to me? And what will my response be? What will your response be? Drop it in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, share it up, all that good stuff. Appreciate you supporting the content and thinking things through.